Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really tricky topic, the science behind cannabis and its effect on your sleep.
So, does marijuana actually help you sleep, or could it be harming it? You know, a ton of people use it hoping for a better night's rest, but the science, well, it tells a much more complicated story.
And this isn't some small issue we're talking about. Look at this number, 46.2 million. That's how many adults in the US are dealing with insomnia. It's a massive public health problem, and frankly, it's no wonder so many people are looking for anything that might help, including cannabis.
Okay, so let's start right there. Why has cannabis become this go-to, even if it's kind of unproven, remedy for sleepless nights? What's the appeal?
Well, to really get it, you've got to know the two main players here, THC and CBD. THC, that's the one that gives you the high. It's often what people think helps them fall asleep faster. Then you've got CBD, which is totally non-intoxicating. And what's really key is that their effects are dose-dependent. What does that mean? It means a tiny bit can do one thing, while a larger amount can do the complete opposite. It's not straightforward at all.
All right, so keeping that difference in mind, let's explore the promise, right? Because early on, some of the research actually seemed to back up the idea that cannabis could be a good sleep aid. It's really important to see where this whole idea came from in the first place. Yeah, the argument for cannabis as a sleep aid often kicks off with this stuff. You know, studies going way back to the 70s found that THC might help people fall asleep faster. That's what scientists call reducing sleep latency. It also looked like it increased slow-wave sleep, which is that super deep, physically restorative sleep we all need. And for people with specific issues like PTSD or chronic pain, it seemed to help reduce nightmares and just generally improve their sleep. So you can see the appeal.
So looking at all that, it's pretty easy to see why someone who's just tossing and turning night after night might look at cannabis and think, hey, maybe this is the simple fix I've been looking for.
But, and this is a huge but, this is where the story takes a really critical turn. We've got to look past just falling asleep and dig into the major problems that long-term use can create for the quality of your sleep. This quote from the Huberman Lab podcast really just hits the nail on the head. THC appears to expedite the transition to unconsciousness, but the resulting sleep is not ideal. What they're saying is, sure, you might pass out faster, but that doesn't mean you're getting the good restorative kind of rest your brain and body are actually craving.
Okay, so here's the big catch, the real kicker. While THC might give you more of that deep sleep, it actually suppresses your REM sleep, that's rapid eye movement sleep, and it is absolutely vital. It's where you process emotions, lock in memories, it's even tied to creativity. This is why a lot of users report they don't dream at all.
So what happens if you stop using it? Well, your brain basically freaks out and tries to get back all that REM sleep it's been missing. They call it REM rebound, and it often leads to these incredibly intense, super vivid, sometimes really weird dreams. It can make your sleep feel totally chaotic and disturbed, and it's a classic sign of withdrawal.
And this can lock people into a really vicious cycle. Think about it. Step 1, you use cannabis to fall asleep. Step 2, your body gets used to it, builds a tolerance. Step 3, now you need more and more just to get the same effect. And then step 4, if you try to stop, you get hit with terrible insomnia and that crazy REM rebound, which just makes you think you need the cannabis to sleep. It's a tough cycle to break.
But it doesn't even stop with your sleep cycle. There's some really groundbreaking research from just this year, 2024, that points to a potential long-term impact on the fundamental health of the brain itself.
Okay, so deep inside your brain, you have this amazing thing called the glymphatic system. The easiest way to think about it is like the brain's own personal nightly cleaning crew. It's this incredible waste clearing network that really only kicks into gear during deep sleep to flush out all the junk.
And here's basically how it works. When you're in that deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid gets pushed along your blood vessels, and it literally washes through your brain tissue. This process clears out all the metabolic gunk that builds up during the day when you're awake and thinking. Now, this is where it gets really serious. A brand new study from 2024 found a super troubling link, and it wasn't just about if someone used marijuana, but how old they were when they started. They found that starting at a younger age was linked to an impairment of this absolutely vital brain cleaning system.
Yeah, the study's main findings really connect the dots here. So this weaker glymphatic function was tied to starting marijuana use younger, but it also correlated with actual, real-world cognitive issues, things like poor performance on working memory tasks and lower scores on what's called fluid intelligence, which is your basic ability to reason and solve new problems. Okay, wow. So let's pull all of this together. What does all this research really mean for you or for anyone who's thinking about using cannabis for sleep?
You can see here, the biggest takeaway is that this is not a simple yes or no question. Not at all. The effect cannabis has on your sleep really depends on the whole picture. You've got to consider the cannabinoid. Is it THC or CBD? The dose. Are we talking low or high? The duration. Is this a one-time thing or a nightly habit? And as we just saw, age of use. Starting younger seems to carry much bigger risks. All these things can completely flip the outcome from helpful to harmful.
And we really have to be clear about this. The science here is still pretty new. Researchers are really just beginning to scratch the surface of these incredibly complex interactions. We absolutely need more controlled, long-term studies to get any kind of final, definitive answers.
Which brings us to this last, really crucial question to think about. For sleep, is a short-term fix worth all of the long-term unknowns? It really gets to the heart of the trade-off, right? That immediate relief of falling asleep faster versus the potential for messing up your sleep quality, creating dependency, and these still emerging risks to your long-term brain health. It's a question the science can't answer for you, but it can definitely help you think about it a whole lot more clearly.